Hi guys, I'm Shmi and today is the final day of the 007 Lived Here tour around Scotland that we're doing to celebrate the launch of the new Esso Synergy fuels. Because the theme of course is 007, we're being very James Bond, driving in the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S. We've had a couple of fantastic days visiting some of the sights and scenes from various James Bond movies to date. Today though we're kicking off in Glasgow and we're going to make 2 stop-offs before we end up over at Edinburgh to hand the car back, unfortunately. So first up, we're going to visit McLaren Glasgow. Of course, there's a long history between McLaren and Esso Mobile 1 with the Formula 1 side of things, and they've got some pretty cool stuff in the showroom that I'm rather personally excited to share with you. Of course, also as now a 3rd time McLaren customer, it makes sense to go and visit and just check out what they've got going on. Then we're going to hit the roads heading over towards Edinburgh to visit Performance Portfolio, a local supercar rental company. And then sadly, like I said, it's going to be time to hand back the V12 Vantage S and head on our way to the airport. So we're just filling up here to get ourselves started and then we'll hit the roads and head over to McLaren Glasgow. Unfortunately, the weather does not seem to be so much on our side today, but at least there's not too much traffic. We have arrived. Outside the McLaren Glasgow showroom, there is actually one very specific reason why I've come to visit. And if I focus in on this car, you might start to work out what that is. This was my old McLaren 12C, my first McLaren as it happened. The MP4-12C, car I had some fantastic adventures in. Although of course, while it was my car, it was wrapped in a gloss metallic blue, very similar to the colour I now have my 675 LT in. But yeah, this was my old 12C. It moved on to a new owner who also lived in London at the time. But now it's ventured back up here because he has part exchanged it again for another new McLaren. Big popularity from McLaren owners. You buy a 12C, you get addicted, and then you want to try a 650S, or maybe now you try a 570S as well. But there's something very, very cool about seeing my old car here. It's really, really awesome. Really awesome. It still looks in fantastic shape. They're really good looking cars, aren't they? Really good looking. Yeah. How nice is that? Sat here with a number of 12Cs. I think they have 6 in total, 5 coupes that are out here, and the yellow Spider that's inside. I'm going to show you in the showroom shortly as well, because that car at the back there is rather interesting. I just wanted to pop by really and say hello to my old 12C, because I don't know, it's just a fun story. Maybe one day I'll see the 12C, the 650 and the 675 all together somewhere. But I'm going to head round the back here because there's some more cool stuff to show you. Around here then, we have 3 675 LTs, including that one down there, which is rather special, and also this one here. So this is a customer's car that's just in for some paint protection film. This car is an interesting one because this was one of the prototype cars. It's been fully recommissioned, rebuilt, and reissued with new sort of certificates. Now ready for delivery to a customer, so I think that's quite nice. And obviously in the Napier green, it looks immense. Such a cool colour. I think a lot of people thought I was going to order mine in Napier green. It probably actually pops in person even more than you can see on the camera. But if I swing round past our Aston and a 650S Spider here, we have this car in chicane grey, which is LT number 1. The number plate P11. P11 was the sort of model reference number, the internal code name for MP4-12C, 650S and 675 LT. P12 was the P1, P13 is the Sports Series, P14 is the upcoming sort of 650S replacement in the future. So it's quite a nice number plate to have on this car. If I come around here actually as well, the door sill plaque, custom design by MSO, McLaren Special Operations, 675 LT number 001, and also a plaque here to match that says chassis number 1. So that is very, very cool. With a sort of orange hero specification on the seats and the brake calipers as well. So yeah, kind of makes me miss my car a bit. I'll be back to it soon. But I don't think it's very normal to see 3 LTs in the same place at the same time. But let's also pop on inside. Let's take a quick whiz around here. We'll start at the front where we have a 2004 Formula One car. This was David Coulthard's car. It's always very nice to see the McLaren sort of racing cars in the automotive showrooms. I'm going to head towards the back because this is very, very nice. This is a 650S Spider in MSO Movine Blue. So it's actually a kind of purple colour, which is quite funny for the name. There is a reason for that. It's something to do with the word Movine meaning a blue pigment that turned out purple, which was a colour actually they launched a 570S in at Pebble Beach, at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance in summer. And McLaren Glasgow spec'd this car up. Absolutely lovely with the white stitching and piping as well inside. Such a cool colour. I like that a lot. It's a colour I would have vaguely considered myself. I wonder if anybody out there will spec a 675 LT in Movine Blue. I hope so. It would look absolutely awesome. And amusingly, actually, right now, I've just realised I'm wearing a purple jumper. It's my colour. It's almost the same. Well, that's very, very nice. So, great little visit here to McLaren Glasgow. Thank you very much, of course, to the guys for having me along. Siren going past at the moment. But we're going to head now on the roads over towards Edinburgh, where we're going to visit, well, a pre-filmed visit actually to a performance portfolio where we headed the other day. I'm going to put this content in now, but then we're going to head to take the V12 Vantage S back. So let's technically get on the road to performance portfolio. Here we are, we're greeted by a pretty cool lineup of cars right outside. LP570 Superleggera, the Huracan, the R8 Spider, the GTR, and the 458 Italia at the end. So let's park up, go inside and say hello. Let's take a proper look then at the cars here at Performance Portfolio. We've got this lineup of cars. The guys basically run the opportunity to sort of purchase a package that lets you take a car out and drive it. And today I'm going to be taking 2 of these out for a little drive, which is quite exciting, as well as, of course, driving the V12 Vantage S today. So the whole lineup, what we have is the LP570-4 Superleggera, sort of top spec version of the Gallardo. Then we have the new LP610-4 Huracan. Now, I first test drove a Huracan, well, it was over a year ago now at Lamborghini Pangbourne. So I'm hopefully going to take that car out just to get a reminder for what the new sort of V10 Lambo beast is all about. Then we have an R8 V10 Spider, facelift version, not the new model, but the sort of updated double clutch version of the car I used to own. Again, V10. Then we have a Nissan GTR. Now, believe it or not, up to this point, I've never actually test driven a GTR that I can recall. So I'm going to jump in and take that for a little drive as well. And then beyond that, we have the Ferrari 458 Italia, an ever popular choice. So it's a pretty impressive lineup right here. But let's jump first into the Lamborghini Hurricane and take it for a quick drive. Okay, let's start this up. Here we are then, Performance Portfolio's Lamborghini Hurricane, and I'm also following their Ferrari 458 Italia, so that's pretty cool. Now, immediately, this car is so comfortable, so brilliant. I haven't driven the Hurricane for a year and a half or so, but you've got a massive digital display in front of you, that's super cool. It's a very comfortable seating position, you've got good visibility, there's a very low front scuttle, so you can see lots out front, you've got good side door mirrors, so from an everyday point of view, the car is brilliant. Then you can put it down into sport mode, and the gearbox, you can immediately hear it dropping down through some gears, and the valves opening up, so it's going to be a whole lot louder. And the gearbox is just brilliant. 7-speed double clutch. Get a little bit of noise from it here. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing, and it's so easy to drive in a very, very nice way. You've got the indicators on the steering wheel, just having to learn there, remind myself slightly how they work. And unfortunately, we've got a bit of traffic today, but you press it, yeah, there we go, that turns it off. But it's the whole opportunity doing something like this, to just jump in a car and be able to try it out in the real world. It's quite cool. You can play with all the digital displays and go through all sorts of different settings and controls and just change stuff. I don't remember how it all works exactly. Just very, very quickly having a go with this, but just being sat here, it's very cool. It's a Lamborghini, it's amazing, and the colour of this car, of course, the bright orange, is quite special as well. Yeah, I think just the design in here, everything's sort of triangular, whether it's the door sort of arms, grab handles here, whether it's the sort of bits you can see through on the back of the shift paddles, all the different controls and buttons, and everything's very angular and shaped, so it's quite cool, it's quite cool. I'm trying to keep up with their 458 here in the traffic jam. Yeah, it's definitely quite an exciting car to be driving, that's for sure. One of the most important buttons in this car, manual, to put it onto the paddles, and it shifts so quickly, and then you do this. Seamless. The shifts are instantaneous, and there's absolutely no sort of negative jumping or jerking around as a result. Where's the indicator? There we go. That's going to take some getting used to. Driving all these cars, you've got stalks. Sometimes you've got them in the middle of the steering wheel. In the Lamborghini, you've got them both on the left. Sounds awesome. And then if you downshift, you get that pop and crackle and bang going on behind you, which is very nice. I'm going to try and tone it up a notch and put the car in Corsa mode, and this is where it all starts to get very firm, very, very supercar-like, I suppose you could say, but that's what it's supposed to do. It does sound so good. Naturally aspirated 5.2 litre V10. I'm so glad Lamborghini kept that engine in this car and upgraded the gearbox from the single sort of semi-automated clutch in the previous cars to this new one. They just need to do that in the Aventador as well. So there's sort of one thing that's lacking from the V12, big brother of this car. But quick little test drive, always good fun. Love the Huracan so much. Now we need to head back and jump into the GTR. Jumped into the GTR then. Let's start this up. This is a 2013 facelift car. Let's take it for a drive. Bizarrely then, my first ever time in my life driving a Nissan GTR, which, given so many people ask me all the time how it sort of stacks up against the supercars, I've never really been able to say, because I've never actually properly driven one. Initially you feel, I suppose, much less like you're in a supercar just because the driving position is so much higher, it's quite a big car, but I'm without doubt that there is performance on tap here, as you probably all know, to destroy an awful lot of supercars. I'm just trying to get used to it a little bit driving it before I do anything crazy, but I will try out the various R modes just to see what it's slightly capable of in a moment. We've got a tyre pressure monitoring system that needs resetting. Don't worry about that, that's just because it's just had new tyres on, hasn't been reset yet. Something I've been experiencing myself recently with all my various mishaps with different tyres. So normal driving seems pretty nice. You've got that nice sort of 6-cylinder noise coming through as you start pulling away and things. You've got these toggles here for drivetrain, suspension and traction. So let's put the drivetrain into R mode, which you do by pressing up, suspension into R mode, which you also do by pressing up, and it will all get quite exciting. Then to go manual on the gearbox, you push the stick to the right and you're in manual, so we can start driving it properly. You get a little bit of that GTR noise coming through there. As always, you have the paddles on both sides, left for down, right for up, and they're quite nice paddles actually. They're quite a long way in, but they're extended, and they have a nice sort of soft feel to the back of them, which is quite cool. I guess you're looking, I mean, you might already know, the screen system here has all sorts of stuff, so you're looking at lots of displays. You can play around with all sorts of different things and show you a ton of different information for whatever you might want to know. But it's when we start driving, I think, and pulling away from a traffic light that I'm really going to go, oh my gosh, this thing is crazy, which is what the GTR is so famed for. I think this is like the premium edition as well, because it's got the red highlights inside, which is quite nice. So I'm keeping a first gear around the corner. This is where I get ready to... Okay, from the word go, you really feel the power coming down. It's slightly slippy today, so I need to be a little bit careful. But I can tell this thing's got quite a lot to give, and that's what the GTR is so famed for. Okay, let's give this a go again. I can see how you can so quickly get yourself into dangerous territory in this car. It's definitely not about the noise, but there is a lot of drama because the torque, you're just thrown straight into the back of the seat, and my word, it is fast. But it's effortlessly fast. It just moves and absolutely hauls itself away. And that's what the GTR is about. And now I've had an opportunity to experience it, which otherwise, had I not come down to Performance Portfolio today, well, I wouldn't have driven a GTR. So I can now say I've driven one. And experienced a little bit of what it's about. I need an extended run at some point to properly know what's going on. Back from driving in the two cars, and Mark, my co-driver, is just taking out the Hurricane now. But that was, of course, my first time driving in a GTR, and I have to say the thing is exceptionally fast, but on the slightly damp roads like we have here, very hard to keep the traction, but pretty good experience, and I'm hoping at some point I will get another opportunity to drive a GTR slightly more thoroughly. Maybe even in Nismo or something, we'll see, watch this space. But nonetheless, of course, very grateful to Performance Portfolio for the opportunity to have a go here. You join us back in the V12 Vantage S then. Great visit to Performance Portfolio. I hope you enjoyed that, but thank you very much to them for hosting us. And of course, our visit this morning to McLaren Glasgow. But sadly, we're on our way back towards Edinburgh Airport. We're going to be saying farewell to the car and of course catching our respective flights back home. It's been a wonderful couple of 100 miles driving this car, the V12 Vantage S. Such a fantastic machine for the trip that we have been using it for, and there's the truck that the car is going to be loaded back into. But unfortunately, as with all good things, it has to come to an end. So we'll pull over, get our luggage out and prepare the car to be sent on its way back to Aston Martin. As I was saying, what a car it has been, and it just looks so good, even in the fairly dull light now. It's obviously not the best weather for us today in Scotland. The car looks wonderful, but the sound has just been amazing. I did obviously a full sort of review of the car yesterday while we were driving on some wonderful roads in the Highlands. But all good things have to come to an end, and it's going to be goodbye to the V12 Vantage S for today. And I'm back in the south of France, but what an unbelievable adventure that was around Scotland, celebrating the launch, of course, of the Esso Synergy fuels, driving in the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S, 007 lived here being the theme. It was such a good adventure, visiting all the locations, the Bowness Motor Museum, driving the V12 Vantage, visiting McLaren Glasgow and Performance Portfolio, and just generally seeing so much beautiful countryside and sort of mountain areas and awesome roads in Scotland that I guess I kind of knew were there, but I've never been. And that was sort of one of the purposes of all of this, to enjoy the car, to enjoy the locations, and just to have an amazing time. So I hope you enjoyed the trip, following those sort of 5 parts of the videos that made up that series. It was an absolute delight. But next, this isn't over. We've got 2 more tours that we're going to be doing celebrating this Esso Synergy fuel launch, and the next one is going to be around Wales. The Cayman GT4 is going to ship over to the UK next week. I'll be driving it up, visiting Anglesey, the Evo Triangle, and ultimately into Liverpool on Saturday, the 14th of November. We'll do an announcement of where we're going to be and what time, but it will be roughly lunchtime on that Saturday. We'll do another schmeeting there as part of some of the other visits we're doing. I can't tell you about everything, of course, but there is going to be another tour driving this car in a different country when I've shipped it back over. And I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Trust me, today, since getting back, I actually took this car out for about a 4 or 5 hour drive, and I had a lot of fun, and I know doing it on the tour around Wales is going to be absolutely immense. So once again, thank you very much. Of course, thanks to Esso Synergy Fuels for making all of this possible. Could not have been done without them for trip number 1, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing you trip number 2. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch up with you again soon. Cheers. Hi Nick, how are you?
Hello, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hi, nice to see you.
Pretty excited about today. I can see the car over there. Let's go straight inside.